Hello. I have been spending a ton of time working on optimizing my existing blog posts, specifically my portfolio, which is hosted on my blog for SEO purposes, thanks to my friend and client and my go-to SEO person, Brittany Herzberg. So I thought I would show you how I'm doing that. I'm going to use a couple of tools. So I'm blogging in Squarespace, but you can do this in any blog. I'm using KeySearch and Ubersuggest, which is a Chrome extension on Google. And then I'm using ChatGPT to help me kind of consolidate all of that information. Now, what I will say is that this is an existing post. So the content is already written, and I know that the content is what I want it to include. And so what I am doing here is optimizing the title, the headlines, SEO description, SEO title, all of that stuff. I'm not writing this from scratch thinking about SEO, which is another thing you can do, and you can use these tools to do something similar, but I'm going to show you how I am doing that. So this is an existing post that I have for a client that I've worked with. They are a speech and occupational therapy clinic for children. And so I know that that's what they do. And what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go find keywords for them. So I'm going to say occupational therapy website. So in this case, I'm looking for keywords that are related to what I am doing and what I think people would search for. So I think people might search for occupational therapy website if they are looking for to have a website designed. And then over on the side, you can see there's like multiple choices here. So what I'm going to do is when I see one, and Brittany suggests to use one that are between 0 and 1,000, I like to stay no more than like 150 for this search volume. Just because I know that when I use those terms, it's going to be a little bit more effective. Pediatric therapy website. So these are a couple of keywords that I might want to use, and I'm making note of them over in another document on my other screen so that I know which ones I want to target. And then I might try website design here as well and see if there's something that seems like it might be a little bit better. So there's 0 for occupational therapy website design, occupational therapy website. We've already seen that one. Resources. Okay, and then I might try local SEO. So that's a huge search. That's not going to do me any good. So I might say, and even local SEO optimization is not going to be great. So I'm going to say improve local SEO. This might help. You know, it doesn't, I did SEO as part of the project, so it doesn't hurt to include that. So how to show up on Google Business. This is another thing that we did. Okay, how to show up on Google Business, how to show up on Google Maps. Those are some things that we addressed. So I'm just making a note of these keywords. The other tool you could use, and sometimes if I can't find something in KeySearch that I like, I'll go over to Google. I'll type in those same ones. Not now. And then I use this Ubersuggest plugin, which is a Chrome extension, and you can see what it's saying. So the numbers might be a little bit different, but it can tell it. Sometimes it brings up different types of searches that might be related that I think could be helpful. And then what I also like on this one is if I scroll down to the bottom to see people also search for, sometimes I can find something here as well. Now, none of these are related to what I want to do, so maybe I would try it with design. design template. And I am specifically, in this case, staying away from things that say template or free, because this was a service that we were doing a custom website. This is not me doing a roundup post of like, here are the best templates or the best websites or different ways you could create a website. This is specifically, I'm talking about an existing client that we did. So I am staying away from some things that I might use in other posts. Now, they also do speech therapy. Speech therapy website design. Again, that doesn't have any traffic, but that's okay. Website design examples, template. Okay. And this also tells me that like it could be really good to write a post of like a roundup of best speech or occupational therapy websites and include mine in there, and then also find some other ones that I like and explain why, because there is some search volume for that. So the next thing that I'm going to get to do is I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to type in my prompt, and I will include this in what I share. So I've written a blog post and I would like to optimize it for SEO. The keywords that I want to focus on in this post are, and then I have a list of those. And then it says, I have already written the content of the post. I would like you to make suggestions for a keyword-rich title, description, headings. I would also like you to write keyword-rich image and file names. So it's going to ask me to share the post. I'm going to go over here and copy this. And in my case, there are a lot of images. So what I do is I take this over to like a document and I delete the images. And I do mark the headings with an asterisk or a star so that Google knows which ones I'm already trying to make headings. So once I've done that, I'll come back into ChatGPT and I'll add this so you can see I've kind of marked the headings. And I did that. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can actually ask it to divide it up and add headings where it makes sense with keywords. But I knew for my portfolio, I wanted to outline it like I do my process so that it's easy for people to scan it and see like, okay, for this part of the process, this is what it looks like and this is what we did. So I'm going to add this in here. And it's going to give me suggestions. And then I am going to see if, because I did not specifically tell it to give me an SEO description, if it doesn't spit that out, then I will ask it for that next, and I will update the prompt when I share it. So some SEO title suggestions to improve SEO and client experience. Pediatric and speech occupational therapy was boosting usability. Okay, so I don't keep like this one. I could use this if that was what I wanted to really focus on, was showing up on Google, because I'm not concerned about including the name of the business in the SEO title. So it does give me some meta description options, and these are pretty short, which is good. Improve local SEO, show up on Google Maps and attract more clients. See, that's perfect. And then it's going to give me the updated headings with the keywords that is a suggestion, some image names that I can use for my post. So then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to drag this over to another window so that I can keep it open, but I'm going to go into my post. And because this is like my portfolio, I have a standard way of doing that. This title is going to stay the same. Brave Wings Therapy. What I'm going to do is go into the settings for this post. I'm going to let that load up, and I'm going to add my SEO title into the SEO section instead of changing the post title name. And the reason I'm doing that is just for consistency when it's pulled into my portfolio. There are other ways that I could do that, but this is the easiest way. So you can see like this is the title with my portfolio. So I'm going to go to SEO here. I'm going to use this. Now this is telling me it is too long. So we are going to change that. We're going to make sure it's short enough. I could also do one of the other ones, and then I'm going to look at the meta descriptions, add that here, and that's going to be that part of the SEO, and then I'm going to go into the post and make changes. Now this part I'm going to leave alone because, again, it's part of how I've done things, and I'm going to add these headings. And of course, I am reviewing this. It is ChatGPT. So now, instead of just the challenge, it's going to have keywords, a pediatric and speech occupational therapist that no longer worked. So that is the challenge. And that is coming from the content that I have already written. All right, the solution, building a speech therapy website that boosts local SEO. And then we've got the 5 phases of redesigning an occupational therapist website. So you can see it's pulling in those. I'm going to go through, I'm going to update all of these. And you can see that it is pulling in those keywords. So pediatric occupational therapy, speech therapy, but it is still very much focused on what I want it to be focused on because I've already written the post and I'm telling it which keywords. It is not guessing at which keywords I want it to use. And I think that's a really important point here is I have already done the keyword research. If you don't do that and you just tell it, optimize it for keywords, it is going to choose the keywords that it wants, and they are not always the best keywords to have. A lot of times that the keywords that it will suggest have like way too much search volume, no search volume, aren't actually related. So make sure you do the SEO research first. And then I'll show you one more thing that I'm going to do. Because this one is already done, I am actually going to download these images and then re-upload them with the image file names. So I'm going to come in here, and I may have to pull it up on my actual website. So I'm just going to go to my portfolio page. You can see that it's pulling in the names, which is why I've done it this way. Okay, so I'm going to find the one that I just did. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to update this. Okay, sometimes it does tell me that. So if it doesn't let me update it here, I will update it on my actual desktop. And then I will re-upload it later so that I can make sure that it contains the keywords that I want. And I do recommend that you use tiny PNG to optimize your images. So I'm going to open it up here, and I would do this with every image on the site. And I'm just going to show you one so I can see it's already reduced the image size. I'm just going to save it back on my desktop. And then I'm going to go back into the post. I am going to remove the existing image and upload a new one. And you can see there's no difference in the quality. It's just updated the image name. Now, you might say, Sam, why aren't you just changing it here? Because if I change it here, like it doesn't actually change the file name if you were to right click on it and download it later. Does that matter? I don't know. But I want to use as many tools as I have to actually get those keywords in there. And so I take the time to download the images because I'm compressing them. That's going to make things run faster. These are pretty image heavy posts. So that's always a benefit anyway. And then I go in and I write alt text as well. You can ask ChatGPT to help with this if you would like to. In this case, I'm going to write screenshot of homepage for pediatric occupational and speech therapy practice. And then I will save my changes. And that way I have optimized all the parts of the post. I've optimized the SEO title, the description, the headings, the images, all of those pieces are optimized so that it is going to hit those keywords when somebody is Googling them. And then the last step that Brittany recommends that you do, let me pull this up. It's actually in a different browser, is to go to Search Console. So you should have Search Console set up on your website. Go to make sure it's on your website, then you're going to inspect the URL. It's going to retrieve it. It's going to tell me that this has already been inspected because this is an older post, but I can request indexing and it is going to go back and relook at that page instead of having to wait for it to discover it later. I'm basically telling it, this has been updated. I want you to look at it again. So that is how I am optimizing all of my posts for SEO. I'm starting with the ones that I think are most important, which in this case are my portfolio. I am also going to do the ones that get the most traffic that I actually want to get traffic. And then I do this moving forward as well. So I have a plan for using these same tools moving forward. I hope that helps.